Hi, welcome to Fish. First I seek Him, and my name is Linda. So, God speaks to us in many ways, and we see that all throughout the Bible, right? Especially with the story of Moses. I mean, that is the most amazing relationship, I think, personally, in the Bible because it was one on one. But God speaks to others, including us, in dreams and visions. And so I want to share a dream that I was given a few weeks ago. And now I shared before a video, I know on Facebook, of how God speaks to me through others. I shared with my husband and two other of my girlfriends, and how I hear Him through them and other people too, when I least expect it, and from people that I would never have thought of hearing God speak through them. So, dreams obviously occur when I am asleep, and visions happen when I am awake. But I do know that both are of God. They are short. They come upon suddenly. They're very intense. They are in the moment intensity, if you will. There's powerful color, amplified sounds, and smells, and sensory. I can feel in my dream touching, and also emotion, a very raw emotion, very intense, not extreme, but just intense emotion. Now, my visions happen whenever, okay? They just do. I never know when it's gonna hit me, but it's short and it's just, I'm blindsided every time. Put it that way. That's the consistency in visions. Dreams, on the other hand, are different. They happen in the early morning between 5 and 7. And after the dream is over, I wake up suddenly. It's almost like I'm slammed awake. You know, it's just kind of one of those. Always. It's always one of those. And the dreams, especially, visions too, actually visions always, now that I think about it, visions always, so dream and vision always are backed by a scripture. God gives me a scripture, and it's a very unfamiliar scripture, if you will. So my latest dream, okay, and here's the scripture first. It's Luke 21:25. And there will be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. So, this dream happened, as I said, between 5 and 7 in the morning, and I am in this hut. And the hut is on stilts, and it's at nighttime. And behind me are two big square windows without glass. Now, the hut wall is kind of that weave that you would see on a beach mat or something. It's weaved with like not a straw, but from a plant. And that was the background of the wall with the windows. In front of me was a table, and I'm standing next to the table, facing the table, and I'm writing. There's a huge sense of urgency, and the urgency is to get out of that hut. So now I realize what the writing is. When I first had the dream, I didn't understand. But the writing is I write all my notes by hand. So I'm writing away, and next to me over here is an elderly woman. And she's very unconcerned. She really is. And she's kind of not bored, but just a little bit preoccupied or a little bit out of it. She doesn't have the sense of urgency, excuse me. She's not sharing that. She's just off to the side. I know she's there. Even now talking about her, I can see what she looks like, but she's not paying attention to what's going on. As I'm writing, the windows behind me, you can see all the tropical plants, the big palm leaves and everything, and it's nighttime and it's starting to sprinkle rain, and I realize I have to go now. I have to go now. And then God said, very clearly, his voice is always the same. It's a deep voice, and he speaks clearly. And when he speaks, it's all in the body speak. I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel his voice and hear his voice all inside. And he said, I will send a deluge. And then boom, that was it. I wake up and I'm thinking, I normally don't use the word deluge. That is not part of my vocabulary. I don't look up in the sky and say, hey, it's cloudy today. I think there's going to be a deluge. It's just not happening. So I'm thinking, deluge is just, it's an intense word, is it not? I mean, that means a lot of whatever, a lot of water. And then I had the scripture, Luke 21:25. And the last part of it is the sea and the waves roaring. Okay. Now, the New Testament is written in Greek, for the most part, right? We all know that. It's written in Greek. And so I looked up roaring seas. And in Greek, it means echo. People who have survived tsunamis all have stated that before the tsunami hits, the beginning of, they all hear an echo. So I don't know when, and I don't know where. That wasn't shared with me. Do I have my own personal idea of it? You know, of course. I mean, I've been thinking about this. But that part I'm not going to share because, not to annoy you, which I would be annoyed with too, but because it's just me. And my opinion doesn't matter, and it's not anything that God told me. So it would be misleading you. And it's just what I think. You know what I mean? Me. So I don't know where and I don't know when. I do know it's a deluge. I do know that the scripture is referring to the end times. And that's all I have. But I do know that writing furiously in a dream, I was to write it down and to share it with you. Well, that's it for fish. First I seek him. My name is Linda. And until next time.